Our second straight year of going to the 68 Ventures Bowl features two unlikely teams that I thought we were going to see out in Mobile, Alabama. The University of Louisiana Ragin Cajuns on a 4-game winning streak, 2-6 in the middle of the season. They win the last 4 to get bowl eligible. Delaware in their first full year as a member of the FBS will make a bowl game. These are previews and predictions for the 68 Ventures Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. Welcome on in. My name is Lucas Hill here of the Southern Sports Scene. Want to thank our good friends over at FrostBuddy. Going over to frostbuddy.com, use our promo code SSS15 to get 15% off of all mugs, tumblers, cups for the holiday season. Also want to thank our friends at Chike Nutrition. 20 grams of protein, 1 gram of fat, 1 gram of sugar for the best coffee on the market. Nick Domingue over at Ragin Review is joining us to preview our 4th bowl game of the 2025-26 bowl season. Nick, good to see you, sir. How are you today?
Good to see you as well. Thanks for inviting me on. Look, been following you for a while, and I'm surprised we hadn't hooked up one way or another for you to come on our show or me to be here. But glad to represent the boys of Ragin Review and share our thoughts about what's going to happen in the next couple days.
You know what's funny is that, I'm at Southeastern. I'm surprised we haven't gotten on for baseball. I was thinking about getting you on a preview, but anyways, hey, whatever happens, happens. But, hey, man, 4-game win streak. This was a team that was dead in the water 4 weeks ago. You look at them, they're 2-6. Then you look at the slate that they have going to South Alabama, going to Arkansas State, playing an elite offense in Texas State, and then obviously the battle on the Bayou. What was the mentality after following the October 25th game after losing to the eventual Sun Belt division champions in Troy?
Yeah, I got to tell you, man, the season has been tough as a fan. 4 years ago, and I keep saying it, we were top 25 in the CFP at the end of the season, and now we're staring 2-6, in the face, and it's unacceptable from our fan perspective. So we weren't really very high on the way the season would go. We did have a lot of injuries, and most of that at key positions. I mean, we were down to the 3rd-string quarterback. The running back room was fairly healthy, but had some guys dinged up. Wide receiver room was banged up, and our O-line was just absolutely obliterated. So we felt like we would just see if we could potentially get to 6-6 with no expectations. And then you saw guys starting to get a little bit healthy as the season wore on. And they started to learn how to win. This was a 10-2 team last season before they dropped the last 2 games. But they had a lot of talent that we were returning, and it just seems like things didn't line up for them, especially because of injuries. And they just seemed to figure it out at that point and, rattle off 4 straight. And here we are taking on Delaware.
When you talk about replacing, especially the quarterback room, replacing a guy like Ben Woolridge, who, in my opinion, was one of the best Ragin' Cajun quarterbacks to come out of this decade. I thought, and then you start off the season with Walker Howard, the LSU and Ole Miss transfer. There's a lot of hype around him. You get Shelton Sampson, the former 5-star, and then Walker gets hurt at the beginning of the season. I thought Lunch Winfield has done a really good job of kind of commanding this offense. He's shown that, though, he's still young. This is still one of his first times as a full-time starter, and he's still kind of getting his feet wet in this offense that Tim Ledger has done a somewhat decent job of putting together. Just talk to me about how his production has improved, I should say, or just how has it been kind of progressing over the course as he took some snaps during the Marshall game.
We heard through the spring that he was actually, neck and neck with Walker for the starting role as quarterback. And we heard that, and we came out with Walker on the depth chart as QB1, and we said, okay, that's kind of what we figured. We had used Lunch kind of in a scat back role, and he'd come in wildcat formations every now and again, and we throw some trickeration, and Lunch would be part of that. So we had confidence that Lunch was a really good quarterback coming into the season. What we had heard was he wasn't grasping the playbook. That's what we heard from the insiders. He may not be grasping the playbook. So, Walker goes down. Daniel Beal comes in, tries to get the first win of the season against Rice. Can't get it done. He does pick up the win at McNeese. And then just, Daniel Beal has a lot of talent. He just couldn't really put it together during the course of the three starts he had. So enter Lunch Winfield, who all he does, as you mentioned during Marshall, is come in and score like 5 touchdowns, 2 with his legs, and he was just throwing dimes that night. It was amazing. You throw the ball up and it landed exactly where he had to be. And that's what we lacked throughout the season, was a quarterback who could be accurate throwing the ball and also be able to get some yardage with his legs. Now, again, as you mentioned, it's kind of like the Zion Chris situation from a couple of years ago. Zion was a superstar talent. However, he had to go through his growing pains, through a lot of interceptions. You don't see Lunch turning the ball over a whole lot, but you did see him kind of, as you said, there were some growing pains throughout the season. But Cajun fans are very, very patient when it comes to our QB1 kind of learning the role and kind of figuring it out as he goes. I mean, he's a redshirt sophomore. This was kind of like his first chance to be a QB1. And now, again, he's taken us all the way to 4 straight wins, and then now we're in a bowl game. And he got a little banged up in the last game of the season against ULM, but hopefully he'll be able to get the start. All signs point to yes, that he will be starting, but I do expect to see Walker Howard at some point during this game as well. Walker, again, has come into the game a couple of times this season. Did not really have great results, but he did come in for an extended period against ULM and showed his ability to throw the ball, and he got some things done with his legs. And I do want to go back to wide receiver Shelton Sampson. Look, he and Walker were not on the same page earlier this season. Every ball thrown to Shelton, and it really didn't matter. I'm not going to put this on Walker, who the quarterback was. Shelton Sampson had trouble catching the ball. And it turns out after he came back from an injury, he had broken fingers on both hands. Right. So yes, that will limit the ability for you to catch the ball. But we as fans didn't know that. So we got a little bit frustrated. But now that he's healthy, he's really been a game changer for us on offense.
I mean, that's a good thing because of it shows you the type of talent that he has. I kind of relate that to what you said. I kind of see a little bit of Ryan Williams' situation as well. He obviously struggled with catching the football early on, and knowing that he's been playing through this type of injury is a tough kid, man. I'll give him that. I watched him play, watched him grow coming from Catholic High, watched him a little bit at LSU. This was a guy that not too long ago, they were talking about potentially him being one of the starting wide receivers for that LSU offense. But, I mean, we saw how that went. But defensively, I thought you've had your struggles. I think that's pretty well noted. Over-under on this game is 61.5, and this is a Delaware Blue Hens team that can score at will. Put up 61 last week against UTEP. Now, to be fair, UTEP is 2-10, and they're one of the worst teams in the CUSA. But we have seen them at their best. You put up 44 against a UConn team that had 3 dynamic players on that offense. So what's the key for that Raging Cajun defense to kind of limit what Delaware has brought to the table as a whole offensively?
I got to tell you, man, I'm terrified of Nick Minicucci. He is a damn good quarterback. He's got 23 or 22 touchdowns through the air. He's got another 10 rushing. So he is their offense. It all starts with him. And they've got capable wide receivers, but it really starts with Nick Minicucci. They like the high-paced offense. That scares me a little bit as well. We tend to fold a little bit under pressure when the other team is successful in being able to get over the top or run a fast-paced offense. That spells kind of disaster for our defense. I will tell you, we have a couple of guys in the backfield, the defensive backfield, who are really, really good. One of my favorite players on the entire defense is a true freshman this year, and he might be one of our best defensive backs, Brent Gordon Jr. That guy, we got to come up with NIL to keep this guy around because he's a true freshman. He came to us as a 3-star recruit. And he's got 14 tackles, one behind Marion Elam on the team. Cortland Flowers on the team, who's a senior. So he's got one less tackle than a senior on this team that has been here for a while. Our guys aren't ball hawks. We will look for opportunities to get interceptions. And I think against this team that wants to get over the top, you got to take advantage of those opportunities when you have them. But look, guys like Brent Gordon Jr., guys like Cortland Flowers, Tyree Skipper, He's a senior. He was suspended for 4 games. They're going to allow him to play because of the Texas State debacle. Those 3 guys are the key in the defensive backfield that have to perform well. They cannot get beat in coverage. And most of all, they one of our biggest problems in the defensive backfield, guys being out of position. And I think a lot of that had to do with injuries as well, because we're moving guys like Colin Jacob. He was a key contributor. When other guys were injured, he was moving to a different side of the field. Same with Tyree. He was trying to cover where Cortland was covering at some point. And things were kind of out of whack. Now that I think we're relatively happy and are healthy in the backfield, I think they're going to have a little more success. But we cannot have defensive breakdowns against this team, because they will make us pay for it. Our defensive line is big. Jordan Lawson, I could go down the list. Fitzgerald West Jr., I think he came to us from LSU. Fitzgerald West Jr. is a really, really good player for us. However, inconsistent at times. So I need him to play better. But again, as long as guys do their job, and we're obviously not going to stack the box against them, because they're not looking to run the ball. They can run the ball, but we're going to have a spy on Minicucci, because again, if something's not available through the air, he is gonna run it, that ball into the end zone from 60 yards out. They don't like for him to do that, but he will do it. He is capable of doing it. So again, I think everybody just needs to be disciplined on the defensive side of the ball. And then really our best defense is our offense controlling the tempo and controlling the clock. So I think as long as the offense is able to stay on the field and control the time of possession, that will help our defense out tremendously, because again, they like to score quickly. So we got to stay on the field a lot on offense.
You talked about scoring quickly. I mean, that was a Delaware Blue Hens offense that a couple of weeks ago, you have touchdown drives of 340, you have 404, 130, 258. Not necessarily kind of pretty much the average type of drive, but like you mentioned, they're a very fast-paced offense. They get to the line of scrimmage and they will snap the football, and very, very, very disciplined up front too. So, I mean, you got to be able to get after a guy like Nick Minicucci, who is probably one of the more accurate quarterbacks in all the CUSA, and one that I'm really interested to see this weekend. Talk to me about the run game. I know you're going to see a lot of Lunch Winfield running the football. You're expecting an option-oriented type of game against this defense?
I would say when the opportunity presents itself, we're definitely a run pass option offense. But in the backfield, Bill Davis, we call him the bulldozer. He's the guy who's going to run over people. He likes to go north south for a reason, because he is very, very powerful. Then behind him, you got Zylan Perry, who's a little bit of the lightning and the thunder and lightning. And then let's not leave out Steven Blanco. He hasn't had a lot of carries the later half of the season, but he's a true freshman, and he's got 2 touchdowns on the season. So when Steven gets the ball, he's also a north-south runner, but he has a little bit of both of them. He can go east-west, but he prefers, like Bill, to go north-south. So I think between that 3-headed monster, Louisiana's always really good in the running back room. This year is no different. So I do expect, again, time of possession against this team is going to be important. I do expect to see a little bit of the play option, run pass option, and I do look for, again, Bill Davis. I think he will be key to this game, running north-south, trying to wear that defense down, because frankly, the Blue Hens defensive line doesn't have a whole lot of depth there. I think they've rotated 6 guys out through the entire season. So if you can keep those guys, on the field and kind of wear them down as the game goes on, I think that's where Bill and maybe Steven come into play, and then Zylan taking it to the house. I actually don't want to see Lunch run it a lot, because he is dinged up. And, every time I see him with an empty backfield running up the middle, I just want to throw something at my TV. And we'll undoubtedly see that this game. But I want him to I just want him to pass or hand off, if I'm being completely honest with you.
Do you see a little bit of Blaine Gauthier in his game? 2 Lutcher alums, both were kind of dynamic in their own way. I thought Blaine was a little bit more pass happy, but both of them very good wheels. But like you mentioned, I don't expect for a guy like Lunch to throw the football this weekend.
Yeah, I would say, look, Lunch could get there. I mean, Blaine is one of my favorite guys ever on the team. And watching him throw the ball was it was almost effortless watching him. So I don't think Lunch, as far as passing wise, is quite there. But with his legs, I might give him a little bit of the nod there and say that he might be a little bit better than Goche in the run game. But man, you're bringing up memories of the New Orleans Bowl now that we're talking about Blaine. Those were good times, man.
Who's the X factor going into this football game on either side?
Yeah, I think I think the X factor for us. I mean, again, for the Blue Hens, it's definitely going to be Minicucci. He's the guy that could really do a lot of damage for us. I would say three guys that I would look out for. Again, Lunch Winfield or Walker, whoever is in the game at quarterback position, they will have to play some mistake-free football there and make the right reads and certainly make the right decisions in handing the ball off or throwing it downfield. Those two will be key. Caden Jensen at tight end, he's a fantastic blocker, but he is also a threat to catch the ball. And look, between he and Brock Chappell, those two guys they're not scared to throw the ball to them. And, those guys are like 6'6", 6'7", and, they weigh about 250, 260. So you see that guy's a wide receiver. They're running people over. So I look for the tight ends to be involved in this game heavily and maybe kind of like the X factor that Delaware may not be able to handle very well. And again, in the defensive backfield, I still look for my boy Brent Gordon Jr. I think he's going to have an outstanding game. And unfortunately, if we can't come up with NIL money, this is going to be the game that he wants to show out on ESPN. So I think he's going to be extra motivated, and I think he will be a difference in the ball game on the defensive side.
Line sitting at 3 to the side of Louisiana. Do you see this being a Cajun cover, or does Delaware kind of cover in this football game?
Never bet the Cajuns, man. Never bet the Cajuns. And I'll just leave it at that. It's almost like the Saints, man. You never bet the Cajuns. And that's as far as I'll go on that.
Having seen Delaware play a little bit, having seen Louisiana play, I got to give Delaware a little bit of coverage. I think it's going to be this tight of a football game. I know last year in the Ventures Bowl, we got a very, very good football game. I think you're going to see some guys really pop off. And we know it. I know there's some guys that are already kind of dipping their toes a little bit in the portal that haven't announced it quite yet. But obviously, like you mentioned, Nick, a couple of names on both sides that could eventually dip their toes and fully embrace the portal after this football game, but really looking forward to seeing those names out there. Nick Domingue, Ragin Review, coming on here and talking 68 Ventures Bowl. We will be out in Mobile this Wednesday to bring you some coverage. I know they will have a simulcast of the game, so talk to us a little bit about that, Nick. Where are we going to find you?
Absolutely. You can find me on socials at GoNick. That's GEAUX on X. I trigger a lot of LSU fans. So if you enjoy that, certainly keep up with me there. But also at Ragin Review is our official X account. We're really exclusively Louisiana coverage at our on our program. So feel free to check us out there. And as you mentioned, we're going to have a simulcast as well. It's going to be a private event, but you can certainly check out our X, and we have a link to sign up for that, and you can join us. It'll be like the Manning cast. We'll sit back, we'll shoot the bowl, and we'll watch some football together. So it should be a lot of fun.
Nothing better than that. Nick Domingue, Ragin Review, coming on and talking 68 Ventures Bowl with us. Thank you guys so much for hopping on in and watching us. Once again, we appreciate all of you. Make sure you guys hit the like, share, and subscribe down below. Turn on the bell notifications so that you don't miss another video, live or short, from us here at the Southern Sports Scene. Y'all have a great rest of the week. We'll see you then.